Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome to my first reaction to episode 4 of series 3 of Attack on Titan. And yeah, series 3, we learned a little bit more about Historia's background. We learned that Historia's mother was killed in front of her. She was very standoffish with her daughter for no reason. It was almost like she was treating Historia as if she was some like monster, as if she somehow deserves the mistreatment that she's received. And that makes me think that there's more to Historia than meets the eye, because what mother would do that to their child? It doesn't make any sense to me. And we also then learned that the teacher that we saw killed by the secret police in episode 2 was Erwin's father, that Erwin didn't realize that by talking about what his father had told him about how he felt that the people that had entered the walls suddenly didn't remember anything prior to that, almost like they've been brainwashed into believing whatever state narrative the Fritz royal family want to present, was the direct result for his father dying and being killed by the government to keep their secrets, and just showing the level of corruption that is ongoing in terms of the fact that this is humanity as a whole attempting to fight and find the truth, and yet you have those within humanity that only care about themselves, that are only willing to benefit themselves. They just want to protect what they have amassed, what they've accumulated. And if that isn't such a critique on society in general, about how the rich get richer at the expense of the poor, and how those in positions of power and authority only wield that power and authority in order to maintain their level of privilege at the expense of the wider population. Now, I don't know what is. Asayama, genius, genius, absolute thematic writing genius, I swear. This is not going to be a long intro because episode 3 had a super long intro. So episode 4 is going to be relatively short because I want to dive into this to find out who the hell Erin's going to be consumed by. Like, what, why, and who? It has to be like a Titan that they know that is trapped because they want to give the abilities to that Titan. It has to be somebody they know. What? Ooh, what if it's somebody that's been conducting the experiment, has tried to turn themselves into a Titan, but got trapped and wasn't able to shift back, but is someone that's loyal to the race family and is willing to partake in a coup with them to take back the throne? Maybe that's what it's referring to. Let's get into episode 4. This series has been phenomenal so far. Oh no, it's the military police. Sorry, I thought it could be the survey corps because of their cloaks, but it's not. They're gonna dissent. I think they'll find them and let them get away with it. Yes, Marlo. Think deeper, my boy.
あんたね、忘れたの？あいつらがストエスクでやったこと、あの町を戦場に変えたこと、兄がまだ見つかっていないこと。あいつの荷物がまだ私の部屋にあって邪魔なの。
だが彼らは潜伏していた巨人を見つけ出して捕らえることに成功した。そんなことを他の兵団にできると思うか？調査兵団がこのまま解体されたら人類は。
静かに。
Maybe that's part of the point. Maybe that's part of the point. Maybe part of the point is by disbanding the scouts, you've taken away humanity's greatest asset to fight back. You have weakened humanity substantially because they are the only ones willing to sacrifice and die for humanity to win and for the truth to be found out. So by attacking the scouts and attacking Erwin, you are taking away their greatest asset, their greatest advocate for their freedom. And oh, this show, I love this show so much. They're gonna capture them, aren't they? It's bait.
そうだ。声を出すなよ。そのままの姿勢で指示通りに動く。
Yeah, it's a trap.
そうだ。ゆっくり銃を前のやつに渡せ。
My little rebels.
声は出さないでね。
Armin, the absolute sass of that boy. I love him so much. I don't think I have a character I hate in this show, which is rare for me.
では調査兵団が民間人を殺害したことは間違いないと。
状況証拠から見ればな。ただ我々もまだ正確なところを把握できてはいない。
I think Neil is in on whatever plan Erwin is getting up to. I think Neil is in on it and Pixies is in on it because there was an interaction between Erwin and Neil that we weren't privy to, which means there's a bigger plan happening because they haven't revealed those details to us. If the conversation wasn't important, we would have known what that conversation was. But because it's important, we don't know what it is, but we'll eventually find out. He's in on it.
つまり捜査は中央憲兵の指導で行われたということですか。
おいピューレ、すいません同騎士団長、こいつはまだ新人でしてね、この壁の断りを分かっとらんのですよ。
Within the
中央
walls.
憲兵に関わることは一切記述しませんので、例の新型立体起動装置に。
Isn't he insinuating that like he's not from within the walls then?
新型立体起動装置。三段なんぞ巨人には無力だろうが、人を殺すならそれだ。
Because it's no longer a war against Titans, it's a war against humanity.
そして我々にもその存在が隠されていたということは、我々はあの銃口が向けられる対象外ではないという。
Fascism at its finest. They're gonna come for you one day.
奴らからの報告があるまでもう少し待ってくれ。
I think that's probably what Erwin said to him was like, we won't be the last.
くそ。
いねえぞ。探せ探せ。
Because they're trying to shut him up because he knows the truth, which was it wasn't Erwin that killed his dad. It was his dad, wasn't it?
リーブス会長の
Yes.
だね。名前は。
フレーゲル。
とにかく君が生きててよかった。この真実を明らかにしよう。
どうやって？あんた公害見てないのか？調査兵がやったと憲兵が言えばそうなるんだよ。俺の証言なんか意味ねえんだ。俺が現場にいたことはもう中央。
Are you really gonna die a coward after everything that your dad tried to do for the people of trust?
この鮮明壁の中を逃げ回るしか。俺の人生。
Stand for something. Believe in something.
だけど私ならそんな人生は嫌だね。
Exactly.
こうは思わないかフレーゲル。一生天敵に怯えてネズミのようにこそこそ生きてくぐらいなら命を投げ打ってでもその天敵に一矢報いてやろうと
思わねえよ。
王家や家族に真実を教えてあげたくないのか。
はあ？それあんたらの都合だろ。
当たり前だ。お前も自分の都合を通してみろ。
And the rest of humanity too.
さあついてきてもらうよフレーゲル。
やだ、もうあんたたちは負けたんだ。敗者なんだよ。
She saved your life.
調査兵団は未だ負けたことしかないんだよ。
憲兵に変装して検問を抜け、合わせてエレンたちが運ばれた場所を
Look
探
at
り
Connie's little hat.
もうこんなことしか思いつかねえとは。
I love
どの
it.
道時間はない。短期決戦にかけるしかねえ。
あなたたちのせいでストエスクの人民が100人以上死にました。
ああ、
おい。
あなたたちは自分が正義の味方のつもりなのかもしれませんが、被害者やその家族は突然地獄に落とされたんですよ。
ああ、知ってる。
And Levi doesn't necessarily agree with it because he was a
あなた
bit
たち
iffy with Erwin when that all went down.
兄レオンハートと同じ仲良かったの。あいつのことまだ何も知らなかったのに、あの日以来見つかってないのは巨人にぐちゃぐちゃにされて見分けつかなくなったからでしょ。
いいや、
Nope.
潜伏してた巨人の正体が兄レオンハートだったからだ。まったく嫌になるよな。この世界のことを何も知らねえのは俺らもみんな同じだ。この壁の中心にいる奴ら以外はな。
Yup.
俺にはあなたたちが間違っているとは思いません。この世界の不正を正すことができるのなら俺は何だってやります。
Him and his bowl cut.
お前は
Give him a try.
お願いします、リヴァイ兵士長。
ダメだ。お前に体制を敵に回す覚悟があるからって俺には測れない。
It's a smart choice. He doesn't know anything about it, but still. I love his guts.
俺にやらせてください。
Oh,
Like I said.
Jean. What are you gonna do, Jean?
止まれ。
I feel like he's gonna let them go, isn't he? He's not gonna tie him up. He's gonna let them
ここで
go.
見たことは忘れるよ。
そりゃそうだ。お前たちはここで死ぬからな。
話が違うぞ。
やっぱりお前らを逃がすのは危険だ。俺の独断で殺すことにした。
Jean, you best be joking.
あんたたちは人類を救うために戦ってると分かってる。だろ、ヒッチ。
信用できるわけねえだろ。特にクッパー。
He's definitely messing about. He's trying to intimidate them.
俺はいまいち共感できねえ。
Oh, is he being serious?
逃げろ。
俺の銃の方が早い。一か八かやってみるか。お前のナイフと俺の銃、どっちが早いか。
待て。
Jean.
俺は本当に味方だ。
どう考えたら劣勢の俺たちが今から人類を救えると思えるんだよ。
Is he testing him?
じゃあ、なんであんたはそんな調査兵団なんかやってんだよ。あんたが今も命を懸けて戦い続ける限り、俺はあんたを信じる。
They were trying to test him to see if his actions lived up to his words. Interesting to watch him and Marlowe's dynamic because Marlowe is essentially Jean if Jean had joined the military police. Because Marlowe regrets doing so. He feels as if he didn't realize how corrupt the military police was until he was in it himself, and by then it was too late. And I feel like Jean, if he had gone that route, also would have come to the same realization and would have wanted to have pursued something bigger, something better than what the military police offered. Jesus Christ!
彼は俺を試しただけだ。
Was he testing?
な、あんた。
Part of me was beginning
もし
to
俺が
doubt that he
ナイ
wasn't
フを振り下ろ
testing.
してたらどうするつもりだったんだ。なぜ俺をそこまで信用した。
Okay, no, he was testing then.
俺の嫌いなやつと似てたからな。
Aaron! And he said the
そ
same
のバカっ
thing.
て兄が言ってたやつと同じやつか。
知らねえよ。バカばっかいるから。
Okay. I was gonna say, I was like, this doesn't feel like something Jean would do, but maybe.
半端もんで助かったな。マルロ、お前の覚悟は証明できた。
あそこが最も警備が手薄な検問所です。
よし、あとは俺たちでやる。お前たちは怪しまれないうちにタイに戻れ。
はい。
マルロ、ヒッチ。助かった。
And their faces. Love it.
俺だ。
Jesus.
兵長、その人は。
中央憲兵だ。こいつには聞くことがある。移動するぞ。
We're only on episode 4, and this has just been so intense. Chancellery, an institution which unifies and supervises the various public organizations of administration, justice, and military, which act under the royal government's will. Although it officially outranks other organizations, its authority is under constant contention.
バカだね、まったく。こんな廃墟に逃げ
This
込むなんて。
this is a trap as well. Hange set this up.
でも助かったよ、フレンゲル・リーブス。お前を逃がしちまった時、俺はもう本当におしまい殺されるかと思ったよ。じゃあな、フレンゲル。ありがとな。
Grant a dying man his wish.
死ぬ前に知りたいんだ。親父は何をしてあんな目にあったのかを。
ああ、知らなかったのか。奴は俺らを裏切って調査兵団の側についたんだ。
Not by choice.
従業員やこの町に固執してなきゃな。
あんたなんかにはわかんねえよ。ん？知った風な口聞きやがって。親父は俺に教えてくれたよ。商人は嗅覚が大事だってな。だから俺は嗅ぎ分けた。親父たちの無念を晴らせる人たちを俺は選んだ。
Let's go.
最後は豚らしくピーピー泣けよ。
お前らはもう用済みだ。上を見ろマルティ。
Oh, Hange, my girl.
本隊長、ワイルドすぎます。
やったぞ。聞いたかみんな。
調査兵団。
Because you're traitors to humanity and you deserve to die.
全部聞いたぜ。中央憲兵の企みはここにいる全員が証人だ。
それが何になる。
Your time is coming.
決めるのは王政だ。お前ら、俺にこんなことをしてただで済むと思う。
Rise up,
お前
rebel.
はもうしまい。
みんな安心してくれ。この町はリーブス商会が守る。今日からフレーゲル・リーブス。俺が会長だ。
Your father would be so proud.
だからよろしくお願いします。
Hange got through to him.
おい、小せえぞ。
就任おめでとう。じゃ、憲兵を頼んだよ。
Everybody's beginning to learn the truth.
エレンとクリスタはどこだ。
そんなのを殴り倒して英雄気取りか。
それは気の毒なことをしたな。特にあんたの口は気の毒でしょうがない。まだまともに喋れるうちに口を使った方がいい。
There's something wrong with me that I still find Levi really hot.
お前らが出頭しなければ囚われた調査兵は全員処刑される。最初は調査兵団最高責任者であるエルヴィン・スミスからだ。
So that's what they intend to
う
do.
るせえよ。
Kill
さ
Erwin.
っきの質問に答えなかった分だ。調査兵団の命には優先順位ってもんがある。エレンとクリスタの居場所を言え。
知らない。本当に教えられてないんだ。ケニー・アッカーマンはとても用心深い。
アッカーマン。それがケニー、奴のせいか。
そうだが。
まあ確かに奴は教えねえよな。大事な。
Okay, so Mikasa's just had that realization. Is Kenny Mikasa's uncle? Is Kenny her father's brother? And he raised Levi after he took Levi in and gave Levi the name Ackerman. So Levi's only an Ackerman by connection of Kenny being an Ackerman. So then that would kind of make them cousins. Unless he's just stealing the name Ackerman, but I don't know, it seems more likely that Levi took the name from him. He also doesn't seem to recognize it, so maybe... Okay, so I have two thoughts here. Either that's not actually his last name and he stole the last name, because Levi doesn't seem to recognize Ackerman as Kenny's last name. Levi also doesn't have a last name in his mind, like he doesn't refer to himself as Ackerman. So either Kenny is an Ackerman and is perhaps Mikasa's father's brother, making him Mikasa's uncle and Levi's surrogate father, or Ackerman is Levi's last name and Kenny has stolen it for his own purposes and design. I'm kind of leaning more towards the first one than the second, but with this show, who knows?
なんてざまだ。この間 俺に偉そうに説教垂れといて。王への越見が決まったぞ。そこで調査兵団の解体とお前の処分が下される流れだ。
ナイルか。お前の家はどこだ？ストフェスクだったか。マリーは、お前の家族は元気に暮らしているのか？
元気に暮らしている。子供たちもマリーも。
For how much
最近は
longer?
帰れていないが、場所はウォールローゼ東区だ。
ピクシス司令にあることを委ねた。もしその時が来ればだが、その時俺はただ見ている。選ぶのはお前だ。そして彼らだ。
It's up to you and them. He's not gonna protest to save his own life, is he?
ヒストリアレイスという名前は本人の自己申告。その一点張りだ。
抜け抜けと。
まあよい。奴はすでにカゴの中の鳥だ。死を待つだけのな。奴を死刑にしさえすれば、すべては元通りだ。
I knew that this is where this was going.
壁の秘密は守られ、壁内の平和も守られる。
It's not peace within the walls if you're deceiving people. It's fascism.
エルヴィン、最後に言い残したいことはあるか？
That's not fair. But that's not fair. He didn't have a trial. He didn't have a tribunal. They're just, oh my God, they're just killing him because he poses such a risk to unraveling what they have been trying to hide from humanity and what they've been trying to hide from people. And Erwin is trying to like play on Neil, like you have a wife and kids and this impacts you. Like you're not exempt from this. If they're willing to do this to him, they're willing to do this to Neil. They're willing to do this to anyone that dares speak up. This is fascism. This is not democracy. This is not protecting people. This is fascism through and through. Silencing anyone that dares to speak the truth. Silencing anyone that threatens their privilege and elitism. I said in Levi's No Regrets that Erwin's refusal to ever back down in the face of defeat would be his undoing. And now I'm very scared. I don't know if this is... He's made some very dangerous enemies. They're pulling pieces to get the result that they want, which is to have him executed. But I am not sure if this... So... Initially, I always had the idea, story-wise, that if this point ever came up, which it has, I theorized it in Series 1, and I theorized it again in Series 2, that Erwin's willingness to sacrifice anything in order to help humanity and to find the truth would inevitably be his downfall, that he would eventually find himself in a position where not even he has the ability to get out of it, primarily because he is dealing with very influential figures. And yes, he himself is influential, he has influential friends, but not to the extent of the elite within society who are only doing what they can to benefit themselves and to prioritize themselves. So initially I was like, yes, he is going to end up being killed for this. And the reason why I'm not so sure is because it comes down to the fact that he has been having conversations with Pixies. He's been having conversations with Neil. And there was kind of that hint there that, what did Neil say to him? There was that kind of little hint that Erwin was lecturing him the other day. And I think that was him trying to get through to Neil, getting Neil to try and see the reality of what is going on. Pixies has been entrusted with something, and it's up to you to decide, you and them. Is he referring to Neil and Neil's family? Is the thing entrusted being sent to Neil so that Neil could know the truth of everything that's been ongoing and then use his position in the military police to try and take down the government after Erwin's been killed? Or when it comes, I will only watch. It's up to you and them to decide. That's making me think possibly Rebellion and revolt against the government. Maybe that's what he is inferring, that Neil needs to think less about his duty to the government and more about his wife and his kids, and what side of the divide does he want to be on? What side is he going to take? Is he going to work with a fascist government and contribute to the entrapment of humanity? Or is he going to fight for a better future for humanity and his kids, that they don't have to grow up within a cage? So maybe when he's saying, when it comes, I will only watch, it's because they've been pulling all these threads. We've seen that the truth has become known that Erwin and the Scouts did not kill Reeves, that he was murdered by the Interior and he was murdered by the First Police. So they now know of this, and they're angry, they're riled up, and they're willing to come to Erwin's defense. We're seeing Pixies pretty much confirming that he knew that one day he would have to revolt against the king himself. So that's insinuating that Pixies is in on it, and Pixies may have started to build up a faction of his own trusted soldiers to rise up and rebel. Neil is being forced to now question where his loyalty lies. And if Neil turns, Neil may also have people that he can trust to rise up with him. And you also have Hitch and Marlowe, who are the military police, that have also changed allegiances. So I think there's going to be, at the moment of his execution, because I do believe if they execute him, it is going to be public. It is going to be a public spectacle and sort of a warning to society that this is what could happen to you if you continue to speak out against the government. It's a threat. It's a veiled threat. It's not one that is verbally expressed, but one that is hidden behind their actions of, if you speak out against us, this is what's going to happen to you and your family. So it's best to comply and do nothing than to fight against us, because you'll lose, like Erwin, who is one of humanity's most valued soldiers because of his commitment to not only finding the truth, but the fact that the government are so concerned about the Scouts. They see them as a threat. We've kind of got glimpses of this, mainly because they kept wanting to defund their missions, because why would they want them to know more about the Titans if they're so adamant on hiding the truth of everything? Maybe they thought it was a distraction tactic to kind of keep them busy so that they didn't look too close to home. But now they're looking too close to home. They're like, okay, this is humanity's greatest weapon, is the Scout, because they are the ones that are hell-bent on finding the truth at any cost, but they're also humanity's biggest asset, because everything they do is for the benefit of humanity, for the freedom of humanity. It's why they wear the wings of freedom, because the whole point is ensuring humanity's survival, ensuring humanity's freedom from the tyranny of Titans, from making sure that humanity is strong and established. And I love this show so fucking much. I think at the moment of execution, there's going to be a revolution, there's going to be a rebellion. We're already beginning to see the seeds planted now. Erwin's going to be able to escape, or he's going to lead the charge, essentially. But when he says when it comes, I'm thinking that it could be a threat to Neil, in a sense of when the rebellion comes for you, and by extension, your wife and kids who you need to think about, I won't intervene because I know what side you are on, depending on where your priorities align, depending on whether you contribute or you help or you sit back and do nothing. This season is so wild already, and we're 4 episodes in. So much to talk about. And then the fact that they said that they're all nothing more than birds in a cage waiting to die is so poetic, because you are restricting their freedom. You are preventing their ability to fly and explore. And likening that to birds in a cage is basically another metaphor that humanity is trapped in a literal and figurative cage. The walls are a cage, they're keeping them confined, but the lack of knowing the truth of their society, of who rules them, is a cage in itself. Ignorance is a cage, and ignorance is their biggest weapon right now, which is why they can't have anyone know what is going on. Levi says, I know Kenny. Is that his last name? And what does he say? I know Kenny, is that his last name? It is, but but what's the but? So there's more to the name Ackerman than meets the eye. So okay, so then that to me implies that Levi's only an Ackerman by extension of the fact that Kenny has raised him. And the fact that Kenny refers to him as Ackerman, Levi Ackerman, to me infers that he still, to some extent, sees Levi as a son, as family, because why would he refer to him as Ackerman? Because Levi doesn't even refer to himself as Ackerman. So why would Kenny refer to him as Ackerman if that's not even a name that Levi goes by? Because even he's like, the fuck? Like, he doesn't recognize the name, which infers he doesn't use that name. He doesn't go by that name. So yeah, it's showing that there's still some like sentimental attachment to Levi. Maybe that will be Kenny's downfall. I know he's like hell-bent on going after Levi. I would like more of a confrontation between them two because I feel like there's a lot that they need to talk about and discuss. But it does seem to infer that Levi could potentially be Kenny's downfall. This whole series is just intense. Like, it's ramped up so quickly. But on that note, I am gonna get into watching episode 5 because I can't just leave it on this. It is left on a cliffhanger, so now I have to watch the next episode. So yeah, this is a fairly short outro, so I do apologize. But holy shit, this season is great. This season's phenomenal. If you enjoyed these types of reacts, please consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye!